Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. It's 9 a.m. I'd like to welcome everybody to our next webinar in the series. Today, Patrick Stone is going to talk to us and show us some basic visualization techniques. Looking at the upcoming schedule, and if you've noticed, we're going to try to do 2 of these a month now. We're going to talk about super elevation at the next one, November 19th. And this one's going to be a little different. It's not just super elevation and inroads. We're going to get into some theories, some best engineering practices and stuff like that. So kind of expanding on what we're doing here with the inroads and microstation stuff. Also, it may go a little long, so be prepared for that. There's probably a lot of stuff we can cover. On December the 3rd, we'll look at surface stitches in our models and also how to view, annotate, manipulate features and profiles and cross sections. We've had several requests for that topic. And then the 17th, that will come from the poll. At the end of this webinar, you'll have a poll question. We have several poll questions, or several survey questions, I'm sorry, at the end, and one of those is, what do you want to see next? And we'll put whatever gets the most votes, we'll put in on the December 17th and round out 2014. And as always, if you're looking for continuing education, you'll definitely get that, but you'll have to be registered to be eligible to get the certificate and the credit. So just make sure everybody remembers that. And let's see. Just waiting on Patrick. I'm not sure. Patrick, are you ready? Or?
Yeah, we can start whenever you want, Kevin.
All right, let's just go ahead and get started. Let's see. Oh, I gave it to Henry for some reason. Why did they go to Henry? All right, Patrick, you just have to take it. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Okay. I want to point out a few things before we get started. We're going to show some materials and things that we've changed in the template library. The preference file's been updated, and we're going to send out a CAD standards update today. So if you don't receive that, go to our web page and send us an email to the CAD techs, and one of us will make sure you get it. If not, you can send it to Alex Smith. I think he's probably putting the package together. But be looking for that today, maybe late today, early tomorrow.
Hey, okay, well, I forgot to launch the poll question. Can you do that real quick?
Let me see. Let me see if I can find it, Kevin. Is it launched?
Yes.
Okay.
Patrick, you're good to go.
All right. Okay. Like I said before, hopefully the mic was on. If not, I'll just run through it again. We got a CAD standards update going out today, or first thing in the morning. If you don't get that, please let one of us know. It's going to have the materials in it. It'll have any of the changes that we've made to the template library and a couple of the new components we've added into that library. Okay. Today we're going to talk about beginning visualization. I'm using En-ROADS 81107-540. We're going to be discussing the basic aspects for visualization and how to get a model out of the roadway designer with colors and materials. And the reason I say colors and materials, we went through and I assigned materials to everything. Then we viewed them. We looked at a model, viewed it, sat down as a group, and it was less than impressive. It was very grainy, and you could see all the pattern areas on it. So we went back and we decided to assign colors to most of our components. Now we've got a few materials, and I'm sure that'll grow as our knowledge of how to apply these materials grows. But we felt this looked the best at this time. So with that said, we're not going to be doing any rendering. This will be an introduction to modeling that is relatively fast and is already set up with the KYTC delivered preferences and template files. And that's going to be sent out later today. We're going to spend about a half an hour talking about this, and then we can open up for questions and go from there. Now, we do offer a more advanced class that's taught at the Engineering Center by CAD Productivity called Modeling in 3D with MicroStation and En-ROADS. It's a 4-day class. It gets into camera settings, luxology rendering, background images, output files, fly-throughs. You know, it covers pretty much everything you need to know on how to do a visualization. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to look at how the styles are set up. I'm just going to go through a couple of them. I'm not going to hit every one of them and bore you to pieces. I'll just show you how we've got these set up and what it's going to affect and how to see if you've got it. So the first thing we're going to do is go to Tools, Style Manager. Let's come down here. What we've got is, like, we've set these up. Like this is proposed asphalt component. We went through and added on the description components to the end of all of them, and to the name it's going to have COMP for component. What I wanted to show you is we do have the line segments to be displayed and the components in the cross sections. Where you can view it in your 3D view, or you can view it in your cross sections. And we've got these new names assigned, the asphalt components. And what I really wanted to show you is just the levels. You know, this is all set up to work through the MicroStation, and you'll have these levels and colors. It's going to assign it to that level, and that's what it's going to be assigned to in cross-section view. And we do have a components list. This is the components list of the ones we've added. These are the names of all of them that we've put in here. And I want to point out that this is not going to mess up anything you've been doing. This is just going to be addition. If you don't want to go in and see the 3D model, then don't view your components in your 3D view. It's not going to mess anything else up. It's going to be an addition to, you know, we feel this is going to be a good tool, so you can, like at joint inspection, you could view all your components. It doesn't have to be a super clean model, and show that you are modeling this stuff. Okay. Now what I want to show you is going to be in MicroStation. Pull up the level manager here. Okay. Now when you first pull this up, a lot of times you're not going to get the description, and like on this one, we don't have the material shown. So all you do is go up to this top line up here, you can right click and turn on your materials. And you can drag that stuff around wherever you want. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to sort this on the materials. Now, right now, the only materials we have assigned are grass, park. That's going to be for your existing model, you know, any grass you've got in there, and your galvanized for your guardrail. And what I want to point out is, go here, you can pick. These are all delivered by Bentley. You know that because it's, you know, got Bentley at the end of it. And we're trying to use only Bentley delivered materials. That way they're consistent between installs. Everybody's going to be able to see it. If you send it to me, we'll be able to see what materials you've assigned. You know, and I know that a lot of people are going to change these materials for their own benefits for their public displays. but I wanted to show you, where we're getting those from. These are all delivered and standard install. We feel that the colors look better on a lot of these than the materials. And I want to show you that just all these levels are set up in MicroStation, and they're RCM, that's component material. This is the level it's going to put it on. This is the color. Just want to point out that we've only got a couple of materials actually assigned. The rest of them we chose to go with colors, as I talked about earlier. Okay, now we've got a very basic understanding of how this is set up. We're going to look at the templates in En-ROADS. And these are all already set up in En-ROADS. And what I'm going to do here is we're just going to take this basic template, or we're going to copy it. But I want to show you that, like for asphalt, for the driving lanes, you come in here and hover over it, you can see that it says proposed, the material down there says proposed asphalt, or you can highlight it, proposed asphalt base component. If it doesn't have that on there, then you don't have the new template library, and you need to get a hold of us so we can get it to you. And I just want to just run through here and show you that they all have components assigned to them for the styles. That way you can see the materials in your 3D view. All of them have been set up. If you build your templates from these components or modify the existing template, you're going to get a decent 3D model. It's going to look pretty decent. I'll show you that in a little while. I just want to point out that that is set up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just copy this model or this template, and I'm going to call it demo. Make that a little bigger. Okay. I want to zoom in here and show you that we do have, this is set up just like I was discussing earlier. We've got the components. Some of these names are hard to see. That's why I'm hovering over them, because they get so long with the component on there. But they've all got component materials assigned to them. If it doesn't have the COMP at the end, then we've missed something, but I think we've went through all these. They should be in good shape. If you find anything that's not right, please let us know. We'll fix it. Okay, now let's get on with what we're doing. What we're going to do is go through here, and we're going to insert a point. We're going to have to put a feature running down through here. The reason we're going to have this feature is that's the way we're going to show our post in the plan view. So we're going to have to put a feature in here, and then I'm going to show you two different ways. We're going to actually show, we've got a component made for the guardrail face, and then we're going to show you how to use some cell extrusion tools in MicroStation, or how to do it in the modeler. So the first thing we're going to do is insert a point here. And I'll show you what this is in just a second. Let me set this up. This is going to be the guardrail front of the guardrail post for the right side of the road. And we're going to put this in here as proposed guardrail right. This is for the cross sections. That way it'll show a cell there in your cross sections if you choose to view it. Now, what we're going to have to do here is set up, we're going to do a horizontal offset, and then we're going to do a vector offset. And what we're doing is we're going to set this 0.7708 back from the face, and we want it, no matter what this does, we want it to pivot right there. So we want this to be 0.7708. We want it to be between here and the right side of the sidewalk. Make sure you set that to 0. Now what I want to do real quick is I'm going to show you the sail that we're making, and hopefully this will shed a little light on it. So we're getting the microstation and do and all these sails are located in the roadway sail library. They're down at the bottom. There's not many of them at this point. They're all VIS is what they start with. The guardrail is one we're going to be using. You know, we've got one that's made out of wood. We got an end treatment that you can warp around, put on the end, and some end treatments. So I just want to place this one in here. Let's see. That's the one I want. And we're just going to rotate this around so I can show you what we're doing. And I want to point out too that the AccuSnap is very handy with this when you're rotating. If you can AccuSnap on a point on whatever you're going to be rotating around, it's going to save you a lot of frustration and probably a lot of cussing. I'm going to turn all the levels on here. Just want to show you the face. This is the face of that guardrail sail that we're going to extrude. And you can turn this to the smooth. And I'll show you the light, something you'll have to play with in these. I like to crank it up when I'm showing this thing. But what I want to show you is where the sail origin is on this. So if you turn on your origin snap, you can see that's right in the center of that beam. That's where it's at the ground line, and we're going to be placing this. So I wanted to point that out just because we're going to show you. Let me get here. Now I can't talk. Made this guardrail face component. Let me see. Let me get this so you can see them both. I just want to show you that this guardrail point is the sail origin point. That way you've got your block's going to be back here. This is the face of your rail. Now we're just going to drag that guardrail face into our template. We're going to put it on there. Now we've got our guardrail face shown on there, and that's going to give you a component in your model, of course. These are set up to no display, and we want to exclude them from triangulation. You know, that way you're not getting all kinds of bumps and divots in your model. One other thing that I want to do in here, because I haven't set up any ditches on this job, so we're just going to delete these out. We're just deleting these components out. What I did, just to save a little bit of time, so I went ahead and added a left guardrail for this feature. And this will be on the left side of the road. I'll go in and show you how to do it in MicroStation. And on the right side of the road, I'll show you how it's doing it in inroads with this component. So we'll save this. And we'll get the modeler. Getting roadway designer. We've already got us a corridor set up. I like to use about 25 feet. going to add that to it. Now we've got that set on there. Now point controls, I'm not going to get into this. I don't have any super set up to this, or I'm not doing any transitions or anything. This is all I'm showing here is that we can take one of the delivered templates, run it down through here, and get a quick model or rendering. So you're not going to see any super. I think these point controls are wonderful. In condition exceptions, we're not going to do any of this. We're just going to concentrate on the modeling and go on with it. So what we'll do here is we'll come in, we're going to call this demo. I want to remove the loops, empty the design surface, triangulate it. I'm going to add an exterior boundary to this, and I turn off the chord height tolerance. Now, generally, I show features, but the only two features that we're going to work with today are going to be the left guardrail and right guardrail. So I'm going to show the components when we view this. We'll close down some of these boxes. I'm bad about having a bunch of junk on my screen. Okay. We're going to go to the top view, just so we can see this. Let me turn off the shading for this right now. We're going to go with wireframe just so I can show you where we're going to put the features we're going to view. Now what we've got here is we're going to have a feature that runs down here and a feature that runs down here for the left and right guardrail. So what we'll do is we'll just go to Surface, View Surface, and we're going to view a feature. I only want the left guardrail and right guardrail because that's what I named it in my template. And they're probably up in the G's. You can hold down your control to select more than one. And right guardrail. You can see them highlight there. We viewed those in there. Now when we're using these cell tools that I'm going to show you here in just a second, it matters which way these features are placed. You know, the way we run these templates, you know, these are faced in the same direction. So if I place a cell, you know, it's going to be facing towards the road on this one with the guardrail. But over here, it's going to face towards the sidewalk, and that's not what we want. So all we have to do is change the direction of this feature. So go to Edit Surface, Reverse Feature Direction. You got to kind of zoom in here and get on it. You can turn a bunch of levels off, but I just like to zoom in there. Click on it. So we've got that shown. We've got that flipped around the way we want it. And we're going to use the Cell tool. Now the Cell tool is located under KYTC Task, Software, Cell tool. What we're going to be concentrating on this one is to place cells along. I want to make sure we got the cell library loaded too. If you don't, which most people will, but let's make sure. We've got to have the roadway cell library loaded because we want those visualization cells for the guardrail. That's the one we're going to be using, the PVISGR visualization. So when you click this one, it's active up here. Now the spacing, we need to set the spacing, and it's very important to be in the top view when you place these cells. If you're in a rotated view, it is going to space it and put it at the active angle of your view. So if you're in a rotated view, you're going to get some, you can get some funk. So we know that we want to post at the begin and the end middle of all the guardrail. So if it's 12.5 feet run a guardrail, we'll make these 6.25. then what I'm going to do is turn off some of these levels just for ease of viewing. Okay, now let's go back to this place to sell. We got the spacing set at 6.25, and now we have to do is select the element that we want to place it along. We've got a guardrail post there. Let's put them on this one too. Okay. Now we're going to turn them all on. And now it's when I want to turn the shading on, because I want to flip it up there and show you what it's starting to look like. Set it to smooth, select your view, and then just like I was saying before, if you've got your snap on, it's better if you can snap to something you want to rotate on here to make you be as aggravated. Now if you look at these, we've got these little components shown, and it's stuck down the ground from that point. It's married to this line here. We can turn it off. We don't have to turn it off. Doesn't matter. Whatever makes you happy. Now, the next command we're going to use to do this is we're going to have to extrude this. This part of the cell right here will be extruded down through there. But we have to fence these and drop them in order for this to work. If you try to extrude that entire cell, I tried it the other day, it'll completely codlock you. You'll be in a do loop of curse words more than likely. So anyway, let's go up to the top view. And let's turn everything off again except for that, except for the guardrail. We're going to fence these for a fence drop. And we're not going to do them all. I'm just going to give you a little run of them so you can see how it works. Okay, now we've got these dropped. Till it's dropped, because when you get the individual pieces. So let's rotate this view one more time. And what we're going to do is we got to go in here and find it's actually not extrude, it's called loft. Let me see, it's under surface modeling. There it is, loft surface. And what we're going to do is loft between these guardrail faces. You can turn everything off but those if you want, but we're going to leave them on for this little exercise. What you do is you pick it, and this little cylinder is very important, because if you pick a different plane, it'll give you a bow tie. So that's why you have to get zoomed in here. And you use the control key to pick more than two of them. And you'd run down this run, a guardrail, all the way down through here. Now, I would think of this as probably the way the hourly man wants to do it. You're getting a little OT. You got miles of this to do. You could be here a while. You can right-click and back up one, then you can add them back in. But this is pretty tedious. What we really envision you doing with this is going in and putting a turn down at the end of the guardrail. You can make it twist. And one thing I forgot to point out, it will put it on whatever active level you have. So I don't want to do that. I want to set it on the guardrail level. So I'm just going to match this because I'm lazy. And that's the guardrail face component. I'm not going to do many of these. I do want to show you how to twist them, which can be handy depending on what you're doing. And now you've got your guardrail component on there. And we're going to turn them all on. And I like to turn this off. This drives me crazy. And you can see how that puts it on there. We've got the wood offset block. And let's go to the other side of the road. Rotate this. This is really the way I envision most people doing it. You know, you just stick it in there, and you run miles of this stuff. The other way over here that I was showing, you know, that's pretty good for the end treatments, placing cells on it, swarping it down. But this will get the meat of it. Now what we want to talk about briefly, we're going to go over some materials and how they work, how to assign them. So let's pull up the material tab, and that's going to be under visualization. So go over to tasks, visualization, materials, and I'll open this as a toolbox. Now you got the defined materials, and that's where you're going to go in and assign your Bentley libraries to it. They're all delivered. You can load any of them you want, and just make sure they're the Bentley ones so we can all see them if you send it to us. But what we're going to concentrate based on today is applying the materials. We're going to talk a little bit about assign by level, you know, and make sure you use these remove assignments. I've used undo and delete, and you can send yourself in a do loop with it. And the difference between the assign level and attach level. Because when you attach when you use the attach to an element, it only affects the one element where the attachment is made. And we'll show you that one first. Let's say that we want to attach a level. Now what I want to do is I'm going to change, let's just change this one post to, let's change it to rusted rail or something. Okay, now you can see we've changed that. It didn't change all the other posts that we've got in here on that level. So that's what you would do when you attach one. So none of the other posts change. Now, if we were to go in and assign a level, we can use the same one. We can pick this, and I think I picked the sidewalk. But what we would do on that, and see how it changed every one of them that's on that level? I mean, that'd be a quick way to go through your model, assign other materials that you like. If you want wood post, I mean, in this case, you would use the wood post cell, but you could change that to rusted rail. And then if you want to remove the attachment, well, let's remove it because I did an assignment, I believe. Okay. Remove assignment. That's when you go through and all the levels that material is assigned to, you can, you know, put it back the way you had it. What we've done here, and you can have, we've shown in a previous webinar of how to how to clip out, show these materials in here. And that would be what you do on this when you want the grass. And this, what I wanted to show you here, besides this big mud slide I've got in this thing, see how it's so patternized? I mean, when you get in there, it's supposed to look like grass. And that's what we were seeing when I assigned materials, like an actual concrete pattern to this or an asphalt. We were just seeing just layers of those patterns, and it was very distracting. So we went back and made the colors so you could see them. And with that, Kevin, I guess we can take questions, or?
Is that it? Okay. We had 3 questions. We've answered them and typed them in and sent them out to everybody, so they've all been answered. If anybody else has any more questions real quick, you want to send them in. If not, you can always email or call us directly and ask privately like that. But
don't forget the CAD standards thing's going out today.
Yes, the CAD standards, and that's one of the questions that we have. Yes, the new update will go out today, and that'll have all these materials already set in there for you guys to start with.
Yeah, and they'll be.
Go ahead. Sorry, Patrick.
And they'll be in the template library. I just want to point that out. They'll all be, you won't have to go and assign any of this. It's already assigned. It's already set up.
Okay, question did come in about the guardrail face. Is there, for the guardrail face, is there a reason a closed component is not used instead of extruding?
When I was, no, I extruded that. I didn't make that in that cell. It's not a closed component. Is that
right? That's, I guess, what I was asking. Can you make it a closed component and not have to extrude it or whatever? Have you ever messed with that?
I haven't. I don't understand what they're saying there. You can do like an extrude along a line and stuff like that.
Yeah. Can you do that? Guardrail face as a closed component as well. You know, I guess the question is like your edge of pavement or your pavement block component. You know, it's a solid shape when you.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't. I did not.
Probably do that. Something we could maybe mess with. Another question, does it loft in a straight line in a curve section when you extrude it? You do have a curve here. You want to zoom in and see what happens.
We can look at it. Yeah, I'm sure it chords between those cells, if that's what the question is.
Yeah, that's really the question is, you know.
I know it chords between them. Let's get up here and see the.
They're 6.5 feet apart, or 6 1/4 feet apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if I got any. Yeah, I know it's going to chord between. Is that the question? Was it chord between them? Because I know it does. It's going to go straight line from here to here. There's no doubt about it. It's not going to do it in a radius. Now, the one that we're following over here on the alignment, you know, since it's a feature, yeah, it'll go around the curve.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know that you're ever going to notice that on, you know, 6 1/4, 12.5 foot spacing.
Probably not, yeah. Another question, how do you extrude the whole guardrail face again? Can you run through that real quick about how you extrude the whole thing?
You're talking, in MicroStation, right?
Yeah,
not the, I mean, the other one is a component.
Yeah, the other one was on
only, yeah. Let's get down here.
Oh, he's talking about instead of going post to post, how did you do the other side?
Oh, the other side is set up in that template. Let me pull that up here. Maybe I didn't explain that one too good. What I did was, see, and we're delivering this in condition. It's actually a barrier. See, we're delivering the. We made this thing, and all it is we imported. You know, I placed the cell. We went in and corded it because it does not like radiuses in these templates. So went through and corded it, imported it in, and then I placed it in our cell that we were using, the demo one, or our template. And That's just set up to not triangulate. It's just making features out of this, and
Yeah.
you get your component from that.
And show that placement point down on the behind the curb again. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I did was measured off the face of this so that would line up with the face of the curb.
Yeah.
And I can place that again if they want to see how we did that.
Yeah. You can just run through that real quick. We got time.
Okay. So what I did was I went in here. I'll just delete this point too. We're going to insert a point.
Just a dummy point, right?
Yeah, just a dummy point. All we're really getting is the face of that guardrail. The face of the guardrail where it goes into the face of the post of the guardrail where it goes into the ground. And what we did was we're making a guardrail feature for all practical purposes, so we can use that to show our cells. And now we're putting this in there, the guardrail right, so we'll get that line style and everything, and you can show this in your cross sections. All you're going to show in your cross sections is that cell if you want to. And what we did, we went in the horizontal. Let me zoom out here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I know that I chose 0.7708 back from the face, back from this point, because that's where I wanted my guardrail face to run along this curb line. So that's why I picked this parent. Made it 0.7708. And then when you do this vector offset, it's probably going to set that back to something else. So usually you want to set this vector offset, and then key in your values, or you'll do like I just did and lose them. Now what we're doing with this vector offset is we want this point, no matter what this stuff does, we want it between this point, that point. So it'll always be on that line. All right, sidewalk, we want 0 offset, and this is 0.7708. Okay, so what we've basically put in there is the origin point for this guardrail face, because that's all we're showing is this component. So we zoom back in there, and we grab that point, zoom in, place it. So now we've got that face. It's right above there. And these points, we set this not to triangulate. No display on the points, and exclude from triangulation. That way it keeps your model from being all screwed up. This is just for, pretty stuff. And then when you run that model, you got to save this. Modeler, see, and we're going to synchronize. It's red because I just changed it. And see, let me make this bigger. See how it's showing that feature? Anything in here, you're going to get a longitudinal feature for it. See, on the other side, we just did that point. We did it with MicroStation. But on this one, it's going to run that the entire length of this corridor. And you could have that show up wherever you have guardrail. This is pretty non-standard, having the guardrail over the curb, but I just wanted to use that one because we had all the different materials in this one, and it was right out of the template. So what you do, and then once you run this, now all I'm doing is running the modeler. And that just runs and places this face all the way along. Well, have a little problem there.
Always important to snap to something.
Yeah, snap something. And that ran at the whole length of the project. And you can see some holes in this model, but, that's not really what we're worried about. We just want to give you an idea of what the materials are, what the colors do. And if I was completely off base answering your question, just give me a call, and we'll set up a deal, and I'll show you whatever you need to know if I've not answered your question.
Follow-up question to that is also which way is better to do this, and I would think unless you're milking the clock, you probably want to do it the way you just showed.
Yeah, I think setting it up through a component, we're delivering that component. That's the easiest way to do it, And in time, we'll have a line string for this. It's 3D. Put it up through there, so you can just it'll be done on there, and you won't have to use these cell commands. But this is by far the easiest way to do it. You can run it on. I ran it through this whole template because it was easy, and I thought it looked pretty neat running all the way down through there. But you can, set that up. You can set it up as an in condition. You can have multiple templates in here. But setting it up as a component is by far easier, and it's not going to mess anything up. You can just turn it off. It's still going to display the same as it was in your cross sections and everything. But you can render this out. I know we have a lot of trouble with guardrail, trying to make it look like something on some of these renders. It can be a real pain. But this is pretty easy with these cells. And we're going to come up with some more of these type things to do as needed. So I would definitely go with the component method. The only reason I showed the other method was like if you wanted to do, I guess, a turn down or something, or you wanted to, just to warp that rail into an entrance or something, you could do that. But as long as you've got this feature around here, it's going to go around an entrance or whatever you want. So I really recommend the component.
Another question, on the other side of the road where you lofted, could you also have extruded that guardrail beam using the line, I guess the guardrail line that you have that represents the face of the guardrail posts. Could you have extruded that instead of lofting? Have you ever messed with that?
I haven't messed with it. Let's see. I think it wants an actual line. We'd have set up the cell a little different, but let's see.
It'll want a line to go off of, and I guess the question is, can you use that line that you've got laying on the ground that represents the face of the guardrail post?
Oh, yeah. Can you use that feature? Well, you'd have to offset that feature up to your proper height.
Right.
But yeah, you should do that.
You could also do it that way if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can offset that up. You can. And
extrude. So
yeah.
Multiple ways, just like most Bentley products, multiple ways of doing stuff. Another question here. Does doing it this way and rendering this stuff, does it inflate your DGM file sizes? Have we seen anything that's too big to use?
No. It's going to add some to your file, but they're just standard cells and stuff. The shading and it's just colors. It's going to make your file bigger, but I haven't seen it cripple any files.
Yeah, nothing that it couldn't handle. Another question. If you want to, all right, thanks. Chris James just asked a question on here about striping. Do you want to talk about how striping is not done so well at this point?
Well, yeah, you have to offset your striping and put it above your surface. And, World Peace and the Ritnex release, they've actually got some commands in the SS3 that really works slick for the striping. Right now, it's kind of a pain. You got to put your feature in. You got to make sure it's above the surface of the the asphalt. Make sure it's higher so it'll show. It
doesn't have to be a shape as well.
Yeah, and it's got to be it's kind of a pain in the ass right now to do that, but we can get with you, Chris, and walk you through that.
Yeah, I don't know when we're going to upgrade to SS3, but it does get a lot easier.
Yeah, and I know nobody wants to hear in the next release. I realize that there are ways to do it. I didn't show it on here because it's pretty in depth. It's kind of a pain.
Yeah, but it is available. If anybody needs just to walk through that, you can call or email us, and we'll get with you and kind of.
Yeah, we'll get you hooked up on it.
Or maybe even do that at another webinar sometime.
Well, if there's a demand, we can do it. If it's a district, we could just set up one of these and show them, and we could do this just for a number of people too.
Yeah, we could come on site and do something. So that's the last question I had, Patrick. So if you got nothing else, we'll shut her down. We're about 50 minutes in, so it's a good hour's worth of training. Appreciate it. You did a good job. Really good job.
All righty. Well, thank you all, and we'll see you all next time.
Yep. And just remember, when we close the webinar down, there will be a survey at the end, and that last question will help us set our schedule for the last one of the year. So really appreciate everybody tuning in for this. Let us know if you have any further questions. Send it to that KYTC CAD support email, or call us directly if you need to. So again, thanks, and we'll see you in a few weeks.